The unthinkable has happened. The sirens have fallen silent. Your world is gone. But you are still here. What do you do next? It begins not with a roar, but with a blinding, silent flash. A light so bright it erases the world. For those who survive the initial blast and the crushing shockwave, a new silent war for survival begins. A war against an invisible enemy, radioactive fallout. Within minutes of a nuclear detonation, the sky begins to shed its poison. Sand-like radioactive particles, known as fallout, are carried by the wind for hundreds of miles. You have between 10 to 20 minutes to find shelter before it begins to descend. This is your first, most critical decision. It will determine everything that follows. The mystery is no longer if we can survive, but how. The world you knew is a memory. Roads, power grids, hospitals, supply chains, all have been severed. Society has crumbled almost instantly. You are now on an island, surrounded by a sea of radiation. Your home, if it still stands, is both your sanctuary and your prison. The U.S. Department of Health and Human Services recommends staying indoors for at least 24 hours, but local officials might advise sheltering for weeks or even a month. The question is, can you outlast the poison? And what kind of world will you emerge into?
To defeat the enemy, you must understand it. Nuclear fallout is the pulverized radioactive debris sucked up into the mushroom cloud, which then rains down on the Earth. It emits alpha and beta particles and gamma rays. Gamma rays are the most dangerous, a form of high-energy light that can penetrate walls and human tissue. Think of it like a radiological storm. The most intense radiation levels occur in the first 48 hours. The danger decreases exponentially over time. After 1 week, the fallout's radiation dose rate is down by about 90%. After 7 weeks, it's down by 99%. Time is your greatest shield. This is the science of survival. The best protection is dense material. Brick, concrete, and thick layers of earth are your best defense. If you are in a multi-story building, you want to be in the center, away from the roof and outer walls. If you have a basement, it's the best option. Mr. Eizo Nomura survived the Hiroshima bombing just 170 meters from ground zero because he was in a concrete basement. If you were caught outside, even for a moment after the fallout began to drop, you must decontaminate. Radioactive particles are like a fine, invisible dust. Removing your outer layer of clothing can eliminate up to 90% of this contamination. Seal it in a plastic bag and place it as far away from people as possible. Then, wash. Use soap and water, but do not scrub or scratch the skin, as this can allow radioactive material to enter your body. Even if the tap water is contaminated, it is still safe for washing, as the radioactive material is so diluted it poses a minimal risk for external use. Do not, however, drink it.
Weeks pass. The initial terror has subsided into a gnawing, constant anxiety. This is the second phase of the war, the battle for resources. Money has no value. Food and water are the new currency. Your carefully prepared emergency kit is now your lifeline, but it is finite. The discovery of what is safe and what is a death sentence is a terrifying process of trial and error for the unprepared. The science is simple, but unforgiving. Any food sealed in a container, cans, bottles, or boxes, is safe to eat. Food that was inside your refrigerator or a pantry is also protected. But you must assume the outside of every container is contaminated. Wipe it clean before opening. The real long-term threat is the food chain. Radioactive isotopes like cesium-137 and strontium-90 settle into the soil and water. They have half-lives of over 30 years.
Plants absorb them, animals eat the plants, and the concentration builds. For months, possibly years, fresh produce, meat, and dairy from affected regions will be deadly. After the Fukushima disaster, some food imports were banned for over a decade. All surface water, lakes, rivers, reservoirs, is contaminated. Groundwater, like from an aquifer, might be safer initially, but can become polluted over time and remain so for years. This is the harsh reality. The Earth itself, the very source of life, has become a potential poison. Day 40. The radiation outside is fallen to a level that allows for short, desperate ventures. The infrastructure of the old world is a tomb. There is no power, no communication, no emergency services. The electromagnetic pulse, EMP, from the detonation likely fried most unprotected electronic devices, from cars to hospital equipment. Every venture outside is a gamble, a calculated risk for a dwindling reward. The stores were stripped bare in the panic before the bombs fell. Day 70. The isolation is a pressure cooker for the mind. But the greatest discovery is not about radiation or scarce supplies. It's about what remains of us. Studies of disaster survivors, from 9/11 to catastrophic earthquakes, reveal a surprising truth. Most people are resilient. Psychological resilience is the norm, not the exception. It's not about being immune to stress or trauma. It's about adapting. The single biggest factor predicting this resilience is social support. The ability to connect with others, to trust, to communicate your experience. That is the bedrock of recovery.
This is the climax of our story. The ultimate revelation is not that we are fragile, but that our strength is not individual. The collapse of infrastructure was the end of one world, but the forging of a small, tight-knit community is the beginning of another. The lone wolf will starve. The family, the group, the community, they have a chance. They rediscover the primitive, essential truth: we need each other. This becomes the most powerful survival hack of all. 100 days. The immediate danger of the fallout has passed, but the world is permanently scarred. Global temperatures could plummet in a nuclear winter, leading to crop failures and famine on a planetary scale. The ozone layer could be damaged, exposing survivors to harmful UV radiation. The radioactive elements woven into the soil will persist for generations, a quiet poison in our food and water. Survival was not a single event, but 1,000 small decisions. It was the discipline to decontaminate, the knowledge to find safe food, the sacrifice to share when there was almost nothing, and the hope against all odds that a community could rebuild not just a shelter, but a future. The atomic dawn revealed a terrible truth about our power to destroy, but it also uncovered a deeper truth about the human spirit, our unyielding capacity to endure, to adapt, and to begin again. The lesson is not just how to survive the apocalypse, but how to live with one another so that we never have to.